Hey, so I recently did a video on the all-in-one guitars, first experience AIO guitars, where you order these. Now this, finally, is my first go-round with a Wolf guitar. Now AIO has two proprietary brands. One is AIO or all-in-one, and the other are Wolf guitars. Now I've heard a lot of good things about these Wolf Les Paul copies, and I particularly like this Red Burst Flame. I know that other people have done reviews of this. Guitar Max is a big fan of this guitar and has reviewed, I think, two different versions of it now. And I think it's a really sharp looking guitar with the black and gold hardware and the deep red flame. So these aren't as cheap as some of the other one. There's the headstock there, the Wolf headstock. It's rather nice, inlaid. These aren't as cheap as some of the other Les Paul copy guitars that we've been covering on this channel. Now there are two winners for different reasons of all the Les Paul copy guitars that I have covered on this channel that have survived, that are still in this studio. And then there's this one that just came in. So I'll do a video comparison between the three. The other two are the Alan Eden Riverside model. And I don't know why there's not more of a buzz on those, or why they're not covered as much, or why they're not known as much online, or why you don't hear people talking about them on guitar forums. Because it is quite close to this one in terms of quality, fit and finish, and all that. You know, I'm not going to say which one's better right now, but it certainly pushes it. And you hear a lot about Wolf and AIO guitars, but not so much about Alan Eden. So maybe that's probably down to their marketing lagging behind, maybe. You certainly don't hear about them as much. So that's the other one that survived. It was the natural, what was it, the Southbound? It wasn't the Riverside. What am I talking about? It's the, the Southbound Volume 2. Southbound. So that one survived, and then my IYV green, emerald green model also survived, just pipping out the SX Callisto, which is now gone, which is this color, by the way. So I will do a video of comparing those three. Now the reason why the IYV survived and is considered as a finalist in this competition so far is quality for the price. I mean, this here is close to $500. It's 400 and what is it, 479 maybe, something like that. With a case and with shipping, it's probably over $500. The Southbound, the Alan Eden, is I think 400 plus, so maybe 425. So these two are over 400. That IYV is, even though it's had a price hike lately, it's still at 200. So it's half the price, less than half of the price of these other two. And the way it plays, sounds, the fit and finish, maybe it doesn't quite have the features of these other two, but for the money, it is an excellent guitar, as a lot of you already know about Indian Vina or IYV. But let's talk about this one. This is sort of an introduction to this. So you get this, it's a lot heavier than the other, not a lot, but a little bit heavier than the other two. You get this deep flame veneer on the top, a one piece or a sandwich back on that. Really nice cream binding with black purfled edges on the back, and on the front it looks like some sort of abalone, as well as abalone fret markers. No first fret marker for you people that swear against them. And then a nice inlaid abalone Wolf logo on the top. It does have Grover brass tuners on it. So like Leo James, it has Grover tuners, I think I have to be honest, part of the amount of money for this, because it is, a little bit more than any of the other models. It's the most expensive Les Paul copy I've checked out to date. And some of that money is, I think, the setup. So let's talk about the setup. As per my last video, I received a setup form, which I filled out. I asked for a low setup on this because I wanted to see how it would come. And I have to say the setup on this is excellent. Really, really, really good. That the action is very low. And it doesn't really buzz, although it could probably go up maybe a hair on the bass side. But it certainly is that low action that so many people crave. And the neck can handle it. Sometimes you can't get this low because you have a kinky or humped neck that just won't let you get this low. So the setup on it is excellent, and I think that's probably worth $50–75 of the price. So the fact that they just give you a setup with every guitar they sell, you don't have to buy the setup like Hard Luck Kings made me do, or tried to make me do. And then when I refused the setup, or said I wanted to set it up myself, they sent me a defective guitar, which then I had to send back, and I had a row with the owner over it. There's a video on that if you're interested. This was a much better experience. I like the policy of just setting up all guitars. It's cleaner. It leaves less room for the kind of issues that I had with Hard Luck Kings, because if you don't buy their setup, it gives them an out to send you a guitar with problems, and then when you complain about the problems, they can blame it on the fact that you didn't buy the setup. I don't like that. I think it's a bad policy, and I've already said enough about that. With this brand and with Orangewood, you get a setup with the price. You buy the guitar, you get a setup with the price. There's no chance of you getting a guitar that's not set up, because they just include it in the price of the guitar. I think that is a much better business model. And they send you quite a substantial sheet to fill out as per your directives on the setup. And everything I asked for, basically just a low action, a little bit of relief, it has been done perfectly. I do notice that the bridge is about at the bottom of its posts, so there's only one way for this to go. So hopefully there's no neck shifting issues, and this needs a reset at some point. So I would prefer it to be perhaps a little bit in the middle, and maybe there is another turn on there on the bass side, so we'll be okay. But I'm just reporting what I see. The other thing I noticed right away is the pickups are rather nice. Nice distinction between the three. So it's got a nice clear chimey pickup set in it, and I think these are the AIO or Wolf branded pickups. I don't think they're anything branded, but they sound good. They sound very, very similar though to what's in that Alan Eden guitar. So there's not a massive boost in quality with the pickups, but it does seem that there is a little bit of a increasing quality with the pickups. The other thing that I'm noticing as well is the Grover tuners, and the tuning stability on this guitar is very good. Sometimes when I get budget guitars, with cheap strings on them, you fight the tuning stability for a while until you figure out what's going on with the nut, what's going on with the strings. And the last thing usually responsible for tuning issues is in fact tuners. Most times it's a nut issue. The nut hasn't been cut properly. That provides a lot of tuning instability. This nut is cut very nicely, and the guitar came in tune, which was surprising. And it has not wavered out of tune. It's pretty much in the same tune as I received it. The intonation's very, very good. So the setup from the nut all the way down the frets, the fret ends, everything is really nice. So I do believe that they are setting these up at their California plant before they ship them out. Sometimes that's in question. I've heard people question Orangewood, for one, whether they actually do any sort of customized setup at all, or if they just say they do. I think they do, but perhaps it's not as consistent as what I'm seeing here. This company actually asks you what you want, how you want to set it up, and then sends it with those particular specs. So yeah, there is absolutely nothing to complain about in receiving this guitar. There are no blemishes, no issues that I can see, no electronic issues. This one here I bought as a finish blem, and the only thing wrong with it, which you will not be able to see on camera, is up here. There's a slight bleed of the red onto the binding, and it had a sticker on there with an arrow pointing to the defect. That is nothing. That will not be seen by anyone but me if I look down while I'm playing it, and I can still barely see it from my eyes being 1.5 feet away from the headstock. So yes, technically it is a second or a blem, but it's the type of blem you just can't tell. It looks brand new. Some people may quibble over the figure. I'll show you that. It's not a clean book match. I don't mind it though. I think it still looks good. It looks interesting. The black and red burst is very well done on this guitar. The finish is immaculate. It is not the cleanest book match I've seen on a guitar, but it doesn't bother me. I still think it's really interesting looking. The knobs are pretty bog standard on this. You know, they're just your basic sort of transparent black knobs that you get on a lot of these guitars. So, but those can be switched out fairly easily. If you wanted something a little bit more substantial, you could do that. The ebony neck on this and the abalone inlays are very, very well done, and maybe that is, we could say that's an upgrade on some of the other models as well. You have to decide though, if the upgrades on this guitar, you've got the Grover tuners, you've got the what looks to be an ebony fretboard. I think this is real inlay too, unlike the Bandcamp guitar, which is a decal with a finish on it. And the slightly better pickups, you have to decide if that's worth another $100, $200 over some of those other models. That's not something I can tell you. That's a very subjective call. I actually think this guitar and the Alan Eden guitar that I have, in terms of fit, finish, parts, is quite close, and those are probably around $75 in difference. I would say that this and the Alan Eden have more upgraded parts than the $100 to $200 models. The one I have in the studio right now is the IYV Emerald Green Flame. However, is the sound of the guitars worth $250 more? That's another thing that you'll have to decide for yourself. In a lot of instances, I would say yes. And of course, I've had a lot of Les Paul copy guitars come through here that are now gone. Not because they're bad guitars, but I can't keep them all. So I have to sort of pick the ones I like that appeal to me and move the others on. And so a lot of those others have been moved on because for me, for my personal tastes, they don't match up to the two that I kept and this one as well. So yeah, my receiving this guitar and playing it, I played it for an hour last night. It's very impressive. It's a very, very nice guitar. There's no great innovation here. The set neck is very, very traditional. It is a Les Paul homage guitar, slightly different angles on the cutaway. Of course, they can't copy Les Paul or the Gibson style too closely or they get in trouble. It's a very standard headstock shape rather, nothing too out of the way, out of the ordinary with that. So it is, a conservative build. There's nothing earth-shatteringly different or unique about this, concerned with many other Les Paul style guitars. But what they have done is done really, really well. Even the pickguard, which on a lot of cheaper guitars, if you really look at the pickguards, a lot of the times they're very, very cheap and unevenly cut, and they have uneven edges. I've had guitars with sort of wavy pickguard edges, like somebody cut them with a pair of scissors. It looks to be very nicely done. It's sort of I think a 4 ply, 2 white and 2 black, including the top. The gold hardware or brass hardware looks pretty much like what you get on a lot of these guitars, but it's certainly very, very adequate. The knobs are pretty much bog standard, what you see on a lot of these guitars. Again, that can be something that is upgraded pretty easily. What I really like about this guitar more than anything is I like black hardware on guitars. I like black pickguards on Tellies, on Strats, rather than white. I always have. I don't know why. It's just the case. So I like that. Whether it's gold or chrome, I don't have a whole lot of opinion on that. Some people have strong opinions on gold hardware over chrome hardware. For me, it doesn't matter that much. I like the fact that it's not overly blinged. And this is something that appeals to me more than the Alan Eden version. It's just a very simple cream binding on the neck. And there is some abalone purfling on the inner side of the binding, but it's not overly garish. It's tastefully done. So yeah, I don't like guitars that are too blingy. So this is very nicely done. Of course, you've got the abalone fret markers, which is a little bit more fancy than just the plain pearloid ones, but I don't know. It doesn't jump out as being too garish on this particular guitar. So yeah, very pleased with this. And I will say more about it. I just wanted to do sort of an introductory video. So I will put on the screen what the model number is on this. It is a Wolf Les Paul copy. You can buy these on the All-in-One Guitar website, and you can check out their Seconds Emblem or sale blowout page and find one like this that has a small finish defect that you can get. The markdown is not great though. I think this is maybe $30, $50 less than the full price one. But I can't complain when seeing what the finish defect is. It's really nothing. It's basically a new guitar. Or you can buy them. I do believe they have a presence on, I think it's eBay. Yes, I think there is a all-in-one seller on eBay. You can buy them. I think they're even the same price. I want to say Reverb as well, but not Amazon. They do not carry these on Amazon. You won't find them. So they're not selling them through Amazon. So those are the 3 places you can get them. And the prices on eBay and All-in-One do include shipping. So you don't have to factor in extra shipping like you do on a lot of the other brands that I've talked about. These, if it's $4.79, that's the price. The shipping is included. I think they will include a hard shell gig bag for $70 extra, and it's probably $120 dollar case, hard shell case, not gig bag, sorry. So it makes sense to include that, have it shipped in that. I didn't do that with this because I have a Les Paul case I'm going to keep. for whichever of these I decide to hang on to. So yeah, you can get another case for $70, but the shipping is free. So there you go. I will do a comparative with this and some of the other two that I've kept for your reference. All right, folks. See you on the next one. I'm going to play this some more.